Hello again. As promised, now I'm going to finish up Chapter 4 by taking a quick look at sections 4.3 and 4.4. These are much less detailed, so you can take a deep breath and relax a little bit. Section 4.3 talks about DNA replication and the cell cycle. Now, before a cell divides, I'm just reading here from the book, it must duplicate, excuse me, it must duplicate its DNA so that it can give complete and identical copies of all of its genes to each daughter cell. Since the DNA controls all other cellular function, this replication process must be exact. All right, take a look now at figure 4.14 on page 127. This shows DNA replication. It's starting at the top, starting at the far left, rather, is DNA from one of the parents. Now, there is an enzyme involved, DNA helicase, which causes the two strands of DNA to separate. And then each one goes through help of another enzyme called DNA polymerase, and some free nucleotides that are in the cell nucleus, making up then two different strands of identical DNA that will go one each into the two daughter cells. Okay, seems pretty complex, but just think of it as being a little bit more simple. Figure 4.15 is what we call the cell cycle. As you go around clockwise, it starts with G sub 1, the first gap phase. In this phase, there's no cell division or replication going on. The cell is synthesizing protein, growing, and going about its business. Then we get to phase S, synthesis phase. Now the cell, with the instructions from a gene in the nucleus, makes a duplicate copy of all of the nuclear DNA. So for a while, we have two identical sets of DNA molecules that are available to be divided up when the cell itself divides. Phase G sub 2 is the second gap phase, and this is it's a brief interval, your author says, where no DNA replication or cell division is going on. Again, the cell here is just going about its business. Finally, the M phase is the mitotic phase. It comes from the name mitosis. And this is a phase with 5 different subheadings that make this phase is the time when the cell actually replicates into its nucleus, and then the cell itself pinches in two to form two identical new daughter cells. Skip down and you will see more discussion of mitosis. Mitosis occurs when any somatic cell in the body that has 46 chromosomes divides and forms two daughter cells that each have 46 chromosomes again. And this serves the purpose of the development of an individual, its growth, composed of some 50 trillion cells. I don't know who counted those. From one fertilized egg, the growth of all tissues and organs up to and then after birth, replacement of cells that die, and repair of damaged tissue. We'll mention meiosis in just a bit. The 5 different parts of this mitotic phase are prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, and then finally cytokinesis is when the actual division of the cell occurs. Now, look at figure 4.16. And here you will see the 5 different phases. Actually, there's the 5th one. Okay, the 5 different phases of mitosis. In prophase, the chromosomes that before you couldn't really tell they were there, they condense and the nuclear envelope breaks down. And then they were called spindle fibers grow that attach themselves to this chromosomal material. In metaphase, the chromosomes line up along the midline of the cell. Finally, in anaphase, the chromosomes are divided. Half of them go to one side of the cell, half of them to the other. But they still here, there are 46 strands of DNA going to each of the cells. And this is when telophase occurs. Finally, is the process of what is called telekinesis, and that is the time of the actual cell division. Okay, so one cell has gone through over not that really long a period of time, and it ends up forming 2 identical cells, if all goes well. Of course, accidents can occur, but we're going to talk about normal things here. Section 4.4 is talking more about chromosomes and heredity. Figure 4.17, these are actual photos of the karyotype of a normal human male. If we lay the chromosomes out and pair up the ones that are identical, we have what's called a karyotype. Now, how do we know that this is a male? Because in this instant, then they confuse us. In the far right, you see 2 identical X chromosomes, that's a female, and then a male, a small, or a large X and a small Y. I don't know why they said that this was a male. Okay, now, a couple more, some more definitions that I want you to have heard at least. Any cell that has 23 pairs of chromosomes is said to be diploid. Diploid, diploid. Sperm and egg cells, however, are haploid. They only have 23 unpaired chromosomes. When the sperm and the egg come together, then again we will have a diploid cell, which is the first cell in a new creature that's going to form. Okay, figure 4.18 shows with pictures showing the what's called the it's a square. Help me. Punnett square. Punnett, P-U-N-N-E-T-T. Punnett square for cleft chin. Capital C is a dominant gene. The dominant gene is for the cleft. The small c is the recessive gene. And if a person has two small c's, he will have no cleft chin. So there's only two different ways that the sperm can split or the eggs can split, and 3 out of the 4 will have at least one of the dominant capital C chromosomes. So 3 out of 4 of the chins will look like, who's that fellow? Again, I'm blanking. You kids will know him. And only one with 2 small C cells will look like the former governor of California. These are dominant and recessive genes. In the upper left of the Punnett square, 2 capital C's. This one is called homozygous. The genes are the same. The upper right corner, the lower left corner have a large C, small c, and these are heterozygous. But since the capital C is dominant, this person will have a cleft chin. Now, it's not always so simple as this model or this description, because many different characteristics in our body require more than one gene to actually form the trait. This is what are called multiple alleles. There's what's called dominant, codominant, or incomplete dominance, polygenic inheritance. You can read through that quickly and see why I don't look like you and you don't look like me, and my 2 sons don't look like each other nor look like me. It's all because of these different things. We all started with the same basic chromosomes at one time. Okay, I am going to close out right now with chapter 4. Oh, you might take a quick look at sex-linked traits. The two most best studied are the red-green color blindness or hemophilia. These are the ones that are the most common that we've heard about, and they're probably the best studied. And these all occur, these traits are carried on the sex chromosomes, either the X or the Y. And that's interesting reading. Okay, that's the end of chapter 4. Thank you.